Hey y'all, Average Joe the Average Geek here, and it's time to talk about episode 4 of the Orville. But first, before we do that, go ahead and click the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You'll see the watermark there. Hit that subscribe button, get entered in for the contest. At 100 subscribers, we're going to draw someone from randomly, and the winner is going to be able to choose the subscription box of their choice, either the A box, the Geek Fuel, or the standard loot crate. So go ahead and get subscribed real quick. All right. Episode 4 of The Orville. I got some notes right here. The title is If Stars Should Appear. What a great title. Wonderful episode. The Orville is surprising me every step of the way. It is not the raucous comedy we thought it was going to be. No, this is legitimate science fiction. I mean, it has that comedic edge, no doubt. A little crude, a little crass at times. You got some dick jokes in this episode. But none of that detracts away from its core as a legitimate sci-fi show. And it really is a successor to 1990s era Star Trek and those similar shows. I'm loving it. This episode dealt with some seriously deep questions. Really some deep questions about, again, the power of the state, the power of theology, and what religion can have people do, and is ignorance bliss, and what happens when the world opens up and it forces you to change your reality. This is what science fiction does, and this is what good science fiction does. I'm really kind of raving about this episode because this episode was beautiful in its presentation. It started off very kind of funny with Bortus and his mate Clyden, and they are wonderful characters, lots of fun. Although a little stiff, but again, generally lots of fun. And then the Orville discovers the ship, which to me, I wrote down the note here, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Mega Maid from Spaceballs. And that's not a bad thing. It just had that kind of visual quality to it. The size of the ship is massive. Easily one of the largest ships we've seen in science fiction, which is really, really cool. We've seen colony ships all the time in science fiction. But this one had the full living ecosystem in it, and it was large enough where the people inside didn't even know they were a ship. And that's where we get to the very interesting thematic things about this episode. Plato told his allegory of the cave, which said if you have two individuals or a group of individuals and they're chained to the cave, chained to the wall inside a cave, and all they can see is what's forward in front of them, and you place shadows on the wall, those shadows in front of them are going to be their reality. They're going to be everything they know. Now, if you remove the shackles and remove them from the cave, they're going to be opened up to a broader universe. Now, also in his allegory of the cave, most of the people that were removed from the cave couldn't handle it and longed to return to the cave. And we'll talk about that more in a moment right here. Amazing guest stars. Lord help me, I can't remember the guy now, but the kid's father. He's a wonderful character actor. You see him all over the place. You have the guy that played Hemlock. Again, I know one of those actors. They're just all over the place. You see them, and they're really great, strong actors, strong character actors, and every character they do is fantastic. And of course, Liam freaking Neeson, like Qui-Gon Jinn, appears as the ancient Captain Dural, who these people are now worshiping as a god. How over the millennia that this ship has been drifting through space, the original captain is now a deity. And that speaks to how deification occurs in societies. The great writings of old get passed down, and legend gets built onto it, and fact becomes legend, legend becomes myth, and myth becomes religion. So having this, goofy comedy story speak to that is really, really fun. Really, really cool. Now, what also happens in these situations, many times, not all the time, but many times in societies, is the idea of a theocratic dictator. How people can get so marred by religious ideas or religious ideologies that they lose sight of the bigger picture. Humans and sentience fear change more than anything else. And when something comes along to threaten that status quo, there's going to be pushback. There's going to be, argument, and in extreme cases, violence, as we saw when the female lieutenant, Liara, I believe her name is, was shot. Great things. Again, things that are very thematic in nature that you would not see discussed in a comedy. Much less a Seth MacFarlane comedy, no less. It's tackling these ideas, and it's being fearless and bold and doing really fun things while telling very legitimate science fiction stories. I loved this episode. I really did. And strangely enough, for me, the parts that were lacking in this episode were some of the comedic moments. The dick jokes were funny with Isaac and his kind of childlike ignorance being played upon for humor was great. But some of the other comedic things on the bridge, although they were fantastic, that was what fell flat to me. I was so engrossed with the story as a whole that I probably could have gone without those jokes, and it still would have been great. Yeah, I know. I sound like I'm raving here, and I'm kind of fanboying out, but I think that's because of my surprise through all of this. Now, after this episode, I'm looking forward to the future, and I want to know what happens to this society. They've been given the keys, and the Union vessels are going to come in. They're going to train them how to use this generational ship so they can get back on course and reach their destiny. They unlock their future for them. Just as the shell of the ship opened up, now their future has opened up. But since this episode was an allegory of the cave, I can't help but wonder, when they leave the cave, how many are going to fight to return it, to return back into the cave. I don't know. That's a story for the future, I guess. Wonderful episode. Wonderful episode. I cannot wait for the next episode. I'm thoroughly digging the Orville, and I hope you are too. So I'm Average Joe, the Average Geek. If you like this video, or you like what I thought to say, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be talking more about this series as we travel into the future. Really good stuff. Average Joe, the Average Geek. Thank you for watching. I'll talk with y'all again very soon. Peace.